Okay, here's our back again for our 2024 Game Awards.
It's true.
Yeah.
We can't take too long because I only have 23% battery on my phone.
Oh, okay. How did we do this before? We started with just top to bottom though, right? And started with 3. Okay, so Game of the Year is we get to that first, right?
I think we did that for any of the numbered categories, and then
yeah.
Okay.
Do you want to start with your third?
Sure. So this year, like last year, my contenders for Game of the Year come with an asterisk of, I don't know if any of them deserve the title of GOTY, I guess, but they were the best new games that I played this year. You know, like I feel like I want to say they're the best new games I played this year, not necessarily like GOTY.
Well, they're yours. That's all this is. This is of the stuff you played that came out this year.
I know.
This is what you like the most.
Yes. Okay. Number 3
so
is
don't get too excited?
Yeah, don't get too excited. Number 3 is Raven's Watch. I like that one a lot. The characters were really cool. We had a good amount of time. We enjoyed it. Obviously, the settings and the bosses kind of got old, but it was a good. It was like a good amount of skill for like an action RPG like that, which made it more enjoyable, I think, for that sort of like isometric top-down view.
Mm-hmm.
All the characters being based off of fairy tales was very unique and interesting. And yeah, I enjoyed it. I think it's well executed for what it is. I wish there was more to it, but I think it's very well executed for what it is.
The player side of it and the characters was so well done. It's just the variety in the run and the enemy side just almost doesn't change.
It doesn't.
But man, the player side was really cool.
Yeah, and it feels just like if they added like 2 or 3 more mini bosses and 2 or 3 more final bosses, and you just random which ones you got, like that would be enough to make it significantly more replayable.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's my number 3.
Cool. Unlock my phone. My number 3 comes with a full disclosure on this, is that there was a hotly contested spot of lots of things coming around the number 3.
Okay.
And that I did pick what I did because throwing out some stuff that doesn't make a list this year. Tekken 8 and Rivals of Ether 2. It's like the same thing. Like Tekken 8 is Tekken 7, but with bullshit 50-50s. They're all crowding around where I have a spreadsheet year round that I like kind of throw a score at something, but as far as stuff, and then Rivals is it's Rivals 1, but Smash Bros. A 5 compared to the first one. So with that in mind, my number 3 that actually cracked the list was Home Safety Hotline. Okay. Which I really still want you to play, but
You said it was like there's like mystical fantasy elements to it, right?
So the whole thing is you could potentially have grounded in reality hazards. So the whole thing is that you're working in a like almost Windows 98 looking interface. The whole idea is you're working at a call center.
Yeah.
That people can call in and say, hey, people call in the game and they say, hey, describe some problem. Maybe you hear some audio in the background.
Yeah. And
you're given a list of entries that you have to pick which one you think it is. And it could be basic things like termites or like mice, or it could be like a common hob or like just or like a troll or something or bed teeth. Yeah, so it's just funny playing a game, and you're like, yeah, man, that's bed teeth, and that's like the right answer.
But how scary is it? Like, because it sounds scary.
You'd be fine.
Okay.
It is.
Okay, then I play it. Yeah.
There's literally no jump scare or anything. It's just people call in, describe a problem, and you're reading about stuff that's creepy and gnarly and stuff at times, but it's horror that's it's easy to go through.
What the things I don't like, so.
But yeah, it was just, of all things that I'm realizing, I'm like, finally, I'm done working for the day in real life. Let's work a dumb call center job and tell people that they have a common hob in their attic. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was really cool, really unique. They had DLC that I kind of struggled with a little bit, but was still really cool. So yeah, it's usually like some type of hazard or almost a cryptid or in reality, just like a common pest, but... Yeah. Really cool job, just really cool game, just working a call center job for this, like, we're in a world where that stuff's totally something you would send to somebody. So yeah, Home Safety Hotline. It's really fucking good, and you should play it. As a homeowner, it's amazing.
Do you think I could play it on the Steam Deck?
All you need is a mouse.
Okay. So probably.
You just click
touch,
things. So whether you use the touchpad or even mount
Okay.
that to a joystick and just, you absolutely could.
Okay, cool. That's a selling point for sure.
Yeah. Okay, that was my number 3.
All right. My number 2 for Game of the Year was Planet Coaster 2.
Okay.
I enjoyed it. The reason you're saying okay is because
I forgot that came out this year too, because I haven't
it came
played
out
it
this
that
year,
long. But
and
yeah.
I did play quite a bit of
You
it.
did. You did. I remember now.
I was just taken by the Minecraft bug, and that has not let go of its clutches. That was honestly the hard pivot. Was just like Planet Coaster, and then Minecraft out of left field. Mm-hmm. So I like it. I didn't play much of the first one. This one seems to be hitting much better for whatever reason. I think having the workshop where you can download other people's like track designs and scenery and all this other stuff softens a lot of my pain points with it. And I think the first one had that too, but I didn't know, or it didn't have the content, I'm not sure. But that just makes it so you can just kind of drop everything in, and you'll have to be... The part I never liked about lots of those was like designing your own rides and designing your own scenery. And I know that everyone loves
scenery.
that. Scenery,
I get. The coasters feels like blasphemy.
It's just like it's
like, what are you even doing? You're managing a park, and that's still fun, I guess.
Yeah, and that's and I like rearranging it all, but like lots of the coasters are really finicky to try to. And they did clean up a bunch of that, where it's like it'll autocomplete track. So it's like if you're like, I can't get this to line up right, you just hit a button and it goes and snaps it in. So like it does definitely improve upon the original formula from Roller Coaster Tycoon. But yeah, I just something about building the coasters in that game just never really did it for me. So, but yeah, so that having the workshop be integrated into the game essentially, definitely helped me enjoy that a lot more. Towards the end, it was getting a little too repetitive, like the objectives.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
But
yeah, its whole thing was like, if you built a coaster and it's like, good job, now build one that's bigger than this. You're like, I already have that, and it wouldn't give you. You'd have to unbuild and rebuild the same one.
Yeah, but I still like. It's a good sign to me that I was playing past the objectives. Like I had gotten to gold or whatever, and then I was still like, but I want to keep managing this park. Like that was a good sign. It was just the objectives were a little flimsy. I guess they were fussy.
Yeah.
So I feel like if they just improved the objectives a little bit, it made them a little bit more unique. It was like kind of the same sort of like build a coaster this long, just like hitting stats on rides. I don't know if they made them a little bit more interesting and unique, because like the themes for all the parks are really interesting and unique. So like doing something more with that, I'm not sure. I don't have any suggestions for what, but that was kind of the only pain point I had with that. But
Otherwise, you had fun. Park
otherwise,
management, all that good.
Yeah. Very much enjoyed it.
Cool. Anything else?
Nope. That's it for my number 2.
My number 2 game of the year was Crow Country.
Okay.
Do you remember this at all?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like the top-down Resident Evil-ish.
Like an isometric view, like a 45 raised up, but more from looking from above, but like a Resident Evil-ish kind of game.
I did not know you liked it that much.
I 100%ed it and beat it twice back to back.
I don't know how I didn't know
good. I beat it and I was like, man, that was good, but I wish they had a harder difficulty. And then they patched in a hard difficulty. I'm like, oh shit!
Right.
So like,
that's right.
I immediately played it right after, and I was like, okay, it was still good, but man, I wish it was harder. And that helped out a lot. It still isn't impossible or anything, but it's a good engaging level of difficulty. Where I thought it was a little too easy the first time, but yeah, if you play through on hard, but it's a lot of fun. The whole premise, the whole setting for it takes place in like a amusement park that's all like crow themed, and there's these kind of mutated-y, otherworldly creature things. I won't get into the story, but the story is actually surprisingly good. And yeah, it's like similar to Resident Evil, but you can like rotate the camera. It has that similar kind of almost pre-rendered look to the things as far as the style, but you can freely rotate. It's just the models look kind of like a PS1 pre-render. Yeah, a lot of fun. If you're into like the Resident Evil survival horror kinds of games, definitely go for it. Yeah, that's my number 2.
All right, my number 1 is Sucking Men in the Woods.
Did it actually come out this year? It did, huh?
It did.
Okay.
It was in
early
beta.
access was before.
Yeah,
okay.
early access before,
Yeah.
but it did come out this year in January. So, you and I played through that. V-Rising.
V-Rising, yes. We weren't just blowing men in the woods, but it's Sucking Men in the Woods. V-Rising, the vampire game. Yeah. But that was how every time we went to play, like, hey, you want to suck men in the woods?
Yep.
Oh, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah, so you and I played through the whole campaign.
The whole game.
Together, and I definitely had a lot more of a... it's much more of a game start top to bottom for me, because I like lots of the crafting and the base building and everything like that, but I think we can both agree that the gameplay was pretty solid. The boss mechanics were pretty cool, where you had to kind of find all these people, and they had different things and drops, and lots of the bosses were just cool and unique. Like the fisherman stands out, and just... Of
all things, you're like... You're fighting monsters and like Dracula and shit. The fisherman's one of the ones that stands out the most, or one where you're not even fighting the person.
Yeah.
We won't say more on that, but of like, you're like, oh, I'm not even fighting him, and it's one of the most memorable ones in the game. We're like, oh god damn it! Like, just
Yep.
No, it was great.
So the fighting's great. The crafting, building stuff really hit for me. The theme is incredible. There's lots of really cool... The blood mechanics kind of wore off. I thought that was really cool going in, and it was kind of just like not as... It's
just something you have to do eventually.
Yeah, I wish it had a little bit more impact, so you're a little bit more motivated to like get good blood or something like that. I feel like that mechanic is almost really, really good, but it's not there. So, yeah, and we finished the whole thing. Towards the end, it got a little grindy, for lack of a better term, because we struggled to keep our gear, which kind of determines your power, high enough, because then it was this, the crafting mechanics are admittedly very convoluted.
Yeah.
So, I can't say that was great, but I would say 75% of the game it was within my tolerance for like crafting shenanigans, and then the last 25 was like, okay, where do we get this? I need to do 8 other things before we can get it got a little bad towards the end, but that is my V-Rising, my game of the year.
Throwing some stuff on there. One of the things for me that it kind of worked out is this didn't crack any of my lists. Honorable mentions was flooded this year.
Yeah.
But it didn't crack any of my lists. But one of the things that was nice about it, if I played this, if I was trying to take part of the whole game, I would hate it. But you liked enough the basic base building and crafting and stuff, because you like more of those kinds of games. I just joined in for the combat. You're like, okay, hey, we've got stuff. You're like, hey, I crafted you this. Let's go fight this boss. And
I got to farming sim and then you'd hop in and join me for battles occasionally. That was a really good union of our tastes.
Yeah, that it's like I eventually I swear I was trying. There's nothing that makes me feel as idiotic as either playing a like DDR style rhythm game on an actual pad with my feet, and complicated like crafting games. Where you're like, how do I make this? And you're like, go to this thing, and I like go up to I'm on the wrong floor. No, that's the artisan table. I want the tapestry shit or something. You're just
you
like,
need the jewelers.
I have no idea. I'm trying so hard and I can't do this. This is beyond my apparent skill set. Or at least familiarity that I can learn.
I'm sure you can figure it out.
I'm sure I can figure it out.
Things
if you stop playing for a week or two, I'm like, what does... Like, we took probably... TF2 came back in a way, and we stopped playing for like a month and a half. 2 months maybe. We finished it around Halloween.
Yeah.
We came back, I had no idea how the fuck to do anything.
Yeah.
You're like, go to where's this thing? And I think we were both stumbling through it, just like... But other than that, the combat was fun. At least if you do your own server, you can adjust sliders. So did we end up actually beating the game?
We did, yeah.
Okay, because we like Oh yeah, we did because we just basically maxed out all of our damage, like in health.
Yeah, because we didn't want to grind for the weapons we would need to beat Dracula.
It was
the final boss.
absurd.
So it was absurd. So we just kind of cranked up our damage multiplier and was like, oh, and it kind of actually worked out pretty well balanced. It was still a challenge and tough, but not impossible. So
yeah, definitely fun. Definitely really good boss fight design.
Oh yeah,
ton of fun.
Yeah, no, and a good game for both of us in different ways.
Very much so.
Yeah,
very much
for
so.
sure.
Sucking Men in the Woods, number 1.
I figured that would get you to laugh.
Oh yeah, no, it got me to laugh for sure. My number 1 game of the year for 2024 is Iron Meat.
Okay.
This plays like a Contra game. I would say it's closest to like Contra 3 Alien Wars in style and things like that they're going for. Doesn't hit all the same things, no like top-down sections, but similar to that in graphical style and gameplay. And I would say out of that genre of the like side-scroller shoot 'em up, it's probably second only Contra 3 Alien Wars for me.
Wow.
That I think it's just that good. I think the art style's awesome. I think the gameplay's great. They tweaked a couple things later on as the game went out, but there were a few things like, oh, like some of the weapons feel a little samey, but like the art style is almost like, it almost feels like John Carpenter's The Thing of just this like fleshy amalgamations, but they're growing always out of like metal contraptions, so there's lots of like like a bus grows teeth and like it takes over a train and you're doing shit, so it's, and there's like freak like humanoid ones and stuff like that, but yeah, the theme and the art's right up my alley as far as horror and action, everything. And the levels are great. The gameplay's phenomenal. It's one of the ones that I've only played solo, but you can play co-op. And now it's the curse of you own the game and beat the game of like, hey, come play this with me. Someone's gonna be getting their teeth kicked in and I'll like beat the game for rounds. But it's
I'm
really
not
good.
the one to pick for that sort of game either. That is not my skill set.
But it's really fucking good.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anybody talk about it. Didn't make anybody's list looking around or anything.
It was well received.
Yes, it's really fucking good.
Yeah.
But
Everyone's still
man,
busy talking about fucking Blotch.
but no, there's out of especially indie games, if you're looking in that category, and especially if you like those Contra style like side scroller shoot 'em ups, this is one of the best ones we've had in years. I think like hardcore. I was trying to think of ones I would like put like in that second, third slot, like Hardcore Uprising's up there. In the past, we played through that, and like it's trapped on Xbox and PS3, or Xbox 360 and PS3. But yeah, it's right up there. Yeah. Iron Meat, my number 1 game of the year.
Very nice.
Should we? Do you want to keep that order? We sometimes
I rank. If I did 1, 2, for the late to the party ones, I did rank mine.
Yeah.
So let's do the 3, 2, 1 still.
Do you want to go first then? Just
sure.
keep alternating.
Might as well.
Real quick, our late to the party. If anyone, all our super subscriber fans out there, late to the party games for us. It's a game that's new to you this year. It did not release in 2024. It is something that you, in some way, are playing through for the first time in 2024 that did not come out this year. Go for it.
My number 3 late to the party games is Moonstone Island. This was...
Hold on together, which one's this? I can picture it, but I can't.
So this one is very much like top-down, old-school graphics. And you're a little witch thing, and you go flying. It's a Pokemon farming sim.
It's
hybrid.
Pokemon? Okay.
So you can collect... So you're on a series of islands, and each island has like a type. So it's like a fire island or an electric island and all of this stuff like that. And then you can catch spirits, I think they call them in the game. The spirits, the designs are super cute. The combat is analogous with Pokemon. It's more 1v1 situations, and your party's only 3. So you're collecting these characters that are really cute and silly. Like, I remember one's like an ice cream cone, and there's a bunch of cute ones and stuff like that. While
I don't remember you playing this. I'm looking at screenshots.
And Molly recommended it.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Was it co-op?
No. I played it mostly on the Steam Deck.
Okay, that could be why.
So that's probably why.
Yeah.
But really cute. It kind of ended up losing me towards the end because it was like the overarching what do I do sort of storyline was really obtuse. But it did keep me for a damn good while with the exploration for all these different islands, because it's like, ooh, let's go try to find an island that has a type that I don't have before, and catch some things on it, and sometimes you'd summon on an island that, like, everything was gonna kick your ass, and you had to leave immediately, because they would just aggro on you. And, like, little spirit designs were super adorable and cute, so that's always a win for any sort of collectathon. But, what do they call that sort of game? The
Collectathon?
Yeah, kind of. But it's like a creature collector. That's it.
Okay.
So, yeah. Well executed creature collector. Not too in depth. Struggled with an overall, like, keep me coming back after I kind of explored a good amount of stuff. Tiny bit of farming was involved. Tiny bit. And you could also, like, talk to and get the townspeople to like you and go on dates and all of the standard fare, but it was a little lackluster compared to like a Stardew or something like that. Those areas certainly did not get the TLC that like Stardew's did. But yeah, I really liked the creature collector part of it. They were really cute, and that's my number 3.
Okay.
To the party that came out last year, so I'm only a year behind. But yeah.
I assumed it was a farming game.
Farming was there is.
You
farming
said it was
in
part of it, but it seems first and
yeah,
foremost.
and then
like
there's also mining, but it is first and foremost.
Okay.
That's the draw.
Okay.
It has those elements, but the creature collector is the draw for sure.
And that makes more sense if you were playing it on a Steam Deck, where it's not like I can look over at your monitor. I'm like I'm looking at screenshots. Like I don't know what this is.
Yep.
How is this in your list?
A bunch of the spirits were really cute and silly.
Yeah.
Those were really well executed. Especially, and they were unique too. It didn't fall into like the Pow World sort of like, this is a knockoff of a Pokemon. It's like, no, this is genuinely new and different. So,
which is hard to do when they've made as many as they have.
Yes, it is.
Down to the like keys,
things
like that. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
My number 3 late to the party game is Lies of P.
Yeah. Did that come out last year? I think so.
Yes, it did. 2023.
Yeah.
That game, it's tough because I feel like the Souls-like genre is just way oversaturated right now, and that style of gameplay, even if it's not quite a Souls-like, of the kind of dodge roll, hit somebody stuff.
Yeah.
It's not to say you can't do it well, but there's lots of games that do it okay or not well, or there's, like, hot take, I wasn't really into Elden Ring. I didn't like the scale of it, and
all of our followers are going to hate you now.
All of our followers.
You're going to get canceled online.
It's going to be me re-listening to it. Some weird guy on YouTube, and I'll play it for our pets.
Yeah.
Future and present. But it's one that where you had kind of the scale of look how much game there is in Elden Ring, and I can respect that. It's not for me. Lies of P is largely a linear game, and you have that style of gameplay. You're playing through as, I forget if they full on call them puppets or automations, or I think it is just puppets. And you're playing through as a puppet, and there's all these other kind of like, it's all kind of more steampunky mechanical puppets, and for some reason they start attacking people and they start killing people, and that's where you come in, that they've already kind of like taken out the city. So lots of people don't trust you, and you're going through and fighting mostly puppets, some people, and the gameplay is kind of like a Souls-like. They have a cool system of like being able to mix and match like the blades of weapons or like the heads of weapons with the handle, and it changes how they play, and you get cool moves that are tied to each of them. But just the gameplay was great. I'm never lost. The relatively easy way to respec, so if you find something that's not for your build, you can kind of make it your build pretty quickly as you get later into the game. But yeah, I played it on Game Pass, and it's been one that even this year that I already beat it, I'm seeing it on the Steam sale. Like, I should fucking buy Lies of P. It keeps being like, it's like 33%. I'm like, you gotta hit 50 for me to pull the trigger on a replay.
Yeah.
That I'm already swimming in games I should and want to be playing. And here I am being like, Lies of P's fucking good. You want to go play Lies of P? You want to beat it again? It's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my number 3.
All right. My number 2, late to the party game. You're gonna give me shit for.
Oh yeah, this is.
I'm choosing Phantom Liberty, Cyberpunk Phantom Liberty expansion for a late to the party game. I know it's not GOTY. It's not GOTY. I figured I can kind of sneak it in. If Elden Ring's expansion had come out, it would have been one of the biggest expansions I think the gaming community has. DLC the gaming community has seen. Like
last year, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, for DLC. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, DLC, and it is. It's not quite Elden Ring's whatever that DLC
Shadow
was.
of the Erd Tree. Yeah.
Erd Tree. It's not quite that scale, but like, it is a significant amount of time. It's a whole new area. Like it is a substantial DLC, and I replayed through. I created a new save, played through the main campaign of Cyberpunk to get to the point where you start the DLC. You can just do straight into the DLC. It can be independent, or you can kind of. You can jump to it immediately if you create a new save, or just play your way through, and I did. So it was fun replaying through Cyberpunk, which I really enjoyed. But the DLC, I mean, obviously, like, the combat and your character does not change from the original.
I thought they tweaked it a good amount from what I heard. Did it not change too much?
Your character didn't.
Okay.
Like, who you're playing, your V.
Okay.
It's not, like, they didn't do a whole lot with that, but, like, so many new weapons.
Okay.
You know, perks and all these other things and stuff like that. The story is really well executed, something that I think Cyberpunk does well, and this DLC definitely, I think, is the high point of the DLC, is that lots of games say your choices matter. And your choices definitely matter in Cyberpunk, but there's no, like, oh, you're choosing the evil or the good choice. Like, genuinely, there are times you're sitting there looking at two options, like, I have no idea. I don't know. I don't even know which one the game wants me to pick. Like, it is...
In a good way?
In a good way, yeah.
Okay.
In a way that actually makes you, like, kind of... It feels like you're actually making the decision as if you would be if you were in that situation. Like, it feels like it's that... The layers of gray with the real world. The uncertainties of gray in the real world, where you're like, well, I kind of know this person, but I don't really know this person. Do I trust them? And it's like... You know, the NPCs are well written and understandable, even if you don't like them. Like, they're well executed, and like, I just think the writing in it was really good. So yeah, that's my number 2, Phantom Liberty expansion for Cyberpunk. I'm counting it.
Yeah. Hey, it's better than Game of the Year being a remaster of the Mass Effect trilogy. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, there'll be a callback to this later.
My number 2 late to the party game of 2024 was Hitman World of Assassination.
Yeah.
And this is one, let's see here, that I had bought 2 when they're like, hey, great news, you buy 2, you get 1. Look at this great deal. I'm like, wow, that's a great deal. And I bought it, and I played the tutorial, and I tried the first mission, and was like, I don't know, I don't get it. And then something happened, and I never came back to it. Mm-hmm. Hitman World of Assassination, which is just 3, came out, and they did the same thing. Hey, look at this great deal. You buy this on sale, you get 1, 2, and 3. I'm like, wow, what a great deal. And I think they stopped selling 1 and 2 entirely. So if you want 3, you had to buy it. So I fell in the same trap that they set up for me, that I bought 2, and then I didn't buy 1 at least. So I didn't give them the maximum amount of money, but bought the trilogy, and here I am on vacation just this December. And I'm like, you know, I never got into Hitman. I tried before, I couldn't get into it. I've tried multiple times, and I'm like, I'm going to give it a shot. Or even starting, I'm like, I'm not sure I get it. And then I eventually was like, I think I get it and I like it. To then, I beat 1. I could go play another game. Oh, I'll just play through 2. I beat 2. I'm like, I should probably play a different game, and I'm like, okay, let's just beat 3 real quick.
Yeah.
And it was a great trilogy.
And then you're like, okay, I beat 3. Now
No,
let's try the other.
try the
game
freelancer
type.
mode. Play the Jean-Claude Van Damme DLC or Elusive Target content they added seasonally. But yeah, no, it's one that I finally got. It's just I doubt anybody's not familiar with it, but the whole thing of it being it's still a stealth game, but it's not full. It's more realistic that if for example, if I were to sneak, if I needed to take someone out in a Costco.
Yeah.
I have to have a membership to get in the door.
Yeah.
If that's the other thing. If I'm going through the front door, I need to create a distraction and slip by or something. But I would need to get in the front door, and then once you're in, you're safe. No one's thinking anything weird unless you're doing something weird. But like if I need to get to the back members only room, now I probably need a vest. So it's just kind of you're knocking people out, playing dress up as them, and nobody suspects a fucking thing, and it's hilarious. And then you just keep doing that to take people out, and yeah, it's a ton of fun. Totally get it now. I get it now. Mm-hmm. It's great. Beat 1, 2, and 3 in a month, and chipping away at the freelancer DLC. So yeah, Hitman: World of Assassination. Glad I finally have seen the light in that franchise. And number 2.
All right, my number 1, late to the party games, which, contrasting with my number 2, will get no objections, is Outer Wilds.
Okay.
I really enjoyed that one.
I'm glad you finally played it.
Yeah, it took me a while to play it.
I forgot you played that this year.
Yeah. It's a really cool experience. Kind of a mindfuck of a video game. Like, not in a, like, everything's confusing sort of way, but just very much makes you think, and you kind of play that sort of, like... It kind of reminds me of, I think it's The Sixth Sense movie, where you kind of, after you finish it, you look back on everything with a new perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's the story is... It makes you want to engage with the story and not just skip past it.
Mm-hmm.
And the story is the big driver for doing lots of things.
And I think just the general, I guess, yeah, the exploration
is very, very
good. The story parts in the exploration.
Yeah, it's one of those games that you enjoy finding out how the world's mechanics work.
Mm-hmm.
And lots of those sort of like, oh, I didn't know I could do this. This is so cool sort of moments with things that, yeah, it definitely makes you rethink about your assumptions in a couple different ways. I'm being obtuse because any spoilers it significantly takes away from the game, so it's definitely one to go in blind, which went in extremely blind.
I made sure.
Oh yeah,
I was being a real dick.
Yeah, you were. It was almost frustrating because he wouldn't give me shit.
Right.
He's just like, you need to play it. It's really good. I'm like, but like, what is? He's like, I'm not saying shit. So, but that is the best way to go into it. Lots of exploration, lots of puzzling, and not. The puzzling is well executed enough that you don't feel like I walked into the puzzle room. Let's do the puzzle, move on. It's like the whole game is kind of a puzzle you're putting together, so it's very cool, and it's space and cool space stuff, which is always neat. So, yeah.
I'm curious where you're at. That is my number 1 game. If I could wipe my brain and play again. Like, if I get Alzheimer's, just shove that in front of me. If you're like, I'm like, what's the Outer Wilds? You're like, here you go, dumb shit.
Yeah. It is definitely, your first experience is very special.
Yeah.
And
do not spoil this game.
No.
Yeah.
No. It's, I'll say something to you after we're done recording,
sure.
Just in case anyone were to randomly listen to this.
That game has such a, like, warm, fuzzy feeling with me, and such a, like, I can't believe this is such a
Yeah.
It's like cute aggression, but at how well a game's designed.
It is.
Like,
And it
It's
was
perfect.
like no one meant like it's like such a no-name game. Everyone's like, "Oh, Outer Wilds? No, you mean Outer Worlds?"
The
like,
titles got mixed up,
yeah.
but this is not a no-name game. This won all kinds of awards in 2019.
Okay, I just missed it. Then.
You just missed it.
Good.
But
it deserves it.
And it's lots of people being like, you should play it, and then like trying to leave it at that.
Yeah.
And that's what you have to do.
Yeah, it is one of those games where your first time the discovery of the game is truly special.
Yeah. Discovery is the game.
Yeah.
Discovery is the game.
For sure.
It is a full-on magical experience.
It's really accessible. I feel like the puzzles would be tough for a kid, but there's no content that's like explicit or scary. It's kid friendly, put it that way. It's very, very cool game.
Yeah.
Very impressive, the level of depth that they added to it.
Yeah.
That was my number one late to the party game of 2024.
I'm glad you've seen the light.
I have seen the light.
Okay. My number one late to the party game for 2024 is Blood West.
Yep.
I played this right in January. A Pizza Tower won last year for me. I think that was last year. This probably would have taken that spot from it.
Wow.
But I adored this game. Like, I thought the whole thing, it ends up being these like big open maps, and there's like I think 3 of them. But the whole theme's like a kind of like dark western zombie occulty kind of stuff. You've got gunsling a bit if you want it. You've got stealth if you want it. It rewards different play styles. It really rewards exploration. The little story missions are really cool. And I'm trying to think what else to really say about it. I know there's DLC. That was the one I kept putting off because I kept playing Hitman. I originally went to go beat Hitman 1. I was like, oh, I need to beat this before that comes out. And then I did and just kept playing Hitman. But no, even playing the base game. The base game's awesome. Just really liked the gameplay of it's phenomenal. I think I beat it twice. And yeah, can't recommend it enough for anyone into any like Western anything, horror anything. And I played it stealthy. I know you can just shoot up everything, but I also played it just kind of doing like a tomahawk run of I just throw shit at people, and that's my build of like, I'm gonna throw tomahawks in your face, and that's how I'm gonna play through the game. But yeah, Blood West, it's fucking awesome. Go play it.
Cool.
All right, you are up for our category of dishonorable mentions, negative catch-all of 2024. It's games, events, trends, personal experiences, anything. This stuff sucks.
Mine are not in.
You're not in order. Okay, mine are ordered.
Okay.
You have 3, right?
I only have 2.
Okay.
I struggled for a third, so go. You start.
Okay. Yeah, I guess I'll start that. That makes sense. My number 3 was Xbox's management of its game studios. If you remember this year.
Oh my god, you're right.
Xbox bought a ton of studios, and the whole idea was, wow, these studios, they can take more risks. They got big money backing them. Look at all this stuff. And it's like, oh, your game didn't do great? No problem. It went worse. We had Tango Gameworks make Hi-Fi Rush and win events at Jeff Keighley's Game Awards. And everyone be like, wow, this game's amazing. And then they closed the fucking studio.
That was such a shit move from
them.
Yeah.
They closed Tango Gameworks, who made Hi-Fi Rush and the Evil Within series, notably. They closed Arcane Austin, who made Dishonored 1, Dishonored 2, Prey, and the other part is like, oh, well, they made Redfall. They were forced into Redfall. There was crazy high turnover because no one wanted to work on the fucking game. And I guess that's part of it, is that eventually closing the studio, they forced them to make a game they didn't want. They wanted it to be live servicey. That's not what this studio does. So eventually, like, well, it's probably 25% of the original staff anyway. Like, if you close the studio, who are you saving? But they fucked that up. And then there was just company-wide layoffs at the now Microsoft-owned Bethesda.
Yeah.
And this is all under a company that makes hand over fist, year over year, that line's got to go up, and it's got to go up by... It's not enough that it just goes up. It has to go up by more than last year. So then you lose studios like this. So, fuck you, Xbox. You are truly on your villain arc. Go fuck yourself. My number 3.
Yeah. Okay. My this is more. It's more in the negative catch-all, less than dishonorable mentions, just because it's a personal problem. JRPGs are really big. Unilaterally, and especially this year, it feels like they've been big. There's been like some really high-profile ones that have got big. I don't get it, and I haven't tried them. I don't I like anime.
Okay.
I should be the target audience. And they just don't appeal to me. Can you make any of them fucking stand out? They all just look like garbage. And, like, Metaphor ReFantasio, like, won fuck tons of awards. And it still looks the same as all of the rest of them. This is my hot take. I don't know. I as a person who likes anime, it's not the art style. Animes are more unique than JRPGs are these days.
Is your negative catch-all that lots
I'm
of JRPGs
perplexed.
run together?
I guess. I'm just... It is a...
And there's a lot right now.
There's a lot right now. It was a big year for it. They all run together, and I just don't get it. At all. And I should be an audience that should get it. And I still don't. I don't know how people tell them apart. They all have, like, the one little over-sexualized girl who's, like, a dragon who's 200 years old, and that's why it's okay we're sexualizing her. And then there's, like, the pretty princess who's, like, the queen of the realm or whatever, but also, like, very elegant. Like, all of the same fucking characters. They all have some sort of magic. It's all just... I don't understand it. So that's it. I'm just frustrated with it as a concept, I think.
Is this more from having to sit through the trailers at
yes,
okay,
100%.
Because I tune out too. They come out and I'm like, well, I know I've tried games like that, and I don't really like lots of it's lots of turn-based combat lots of times, or it's a gacha game where you're going to put in a bunch of money.
Yeah. I just don't.
For me,
I don't get it. I tune it out, but like they're ending up on Metaphor ReFantasio won awards and shit, and I'm just like, what?
You're acknowledging you haven't played them.
I know.
You should try one.
How? I will try one when one sounds interesting.
One won an award. Try that one.
A lot of them won awards.
ReFantasio won tons of awards. You should try that one.
I guess. I just don't... I wish they would make them look good, because they look like trash.
I mean, look...
Not visually, just like as a game. They look like bad games. They look like they should be mobile-only games.
As somebody who doesn't
I'm glad we don't have followers, because I would be getting...
As somebody who doesn't like
they
that
would be
style
coming to our
of games,
house,
or typically the style of games that come with those. I get it, because for me, I'm like, look, they start the trailer, they're talking over the trailer, and to me, lots of anime, like, I legitimately don't know when you're like, if you ever see people like, oh, I'm cosplaying someone, I'm like, it's just throw a wig on someone wearing a dress or armor, and I don't know, they all look the same. That person's made up. So I get it. But I've also played the game, so I know the second that type of trailer kicks on, I kind of tune it out. Like, okay, well, this one's not for me. It's funny that you haven't played one and you're like in the same spot.
And I already hate them. Like, I hate them just on face value. And I know that that's an uneducated opinion. It's just like, make me like your game. Like, make me want to play your game instead of like feeling like I have to just to know that like this is an enemy, like know your enemy sort of thing. I don't know. It's just all. It's a catch-all.
Yeah,
like
this is a catch-all. This is
just the impression.
This is like those like angry Craigslist posts where that's just the venting posts.
Yeah, this is just venting.
Just that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
that's all I have for this
negative.
one. It's just I after watching that Metaphor thing, and like they played some stuff from Metaphor, I think. Maybe.
What
I'm probably thinking like it's just so like all of them look. They have the same archetypes. and the same characters and the same like.
At least from the
so
trailers.
Much the same.
The trailers look. If you swapped them and told me a different title at the end, I would believe you as someone who's.
And all of the titles are absolutely inane. And I know that that's probably because they're, like, translations and stuff like that. But, like, oh, my God.
No, it's the, lots of games coming out of Japan of just word jumble.
And I like anime! Like, I have a soft spot for all of the anime stuff. Like, it's not like I can't... I just... These just look so not good. But they have a massive fan... whatever. I need to actually try one. Maybe that'll be one of my resolutions for next year, is to try one of these, and then I can bitch about it next year. That was my number 2. Negative catch-all.
Give me 10 seconds to see if I can... see if I could find these. I'm not going to be able to find it. There's some fighting games. I think it's in the Melty Blood series that the names are just so batshit. It's like...
Yeah.
It just keeps going, and you're like, those are just random words you're slapping next to each other with colons, and it's like...
And the theme's always something stupid, like, it's just...
Oh no,
save the heart of the world, or the crystals of the...
Don't turn to the dark.
Yeah, like, oh!
Look, I get it. I've also played them, and I don't like the gameplay. And there's some you're like, okay, the story, you can't think the story's good, but I've heard good things about some of them.
But people do!
I've heard that, this one...
Yeah, this one, like, is, like, political and shit, and I'm like... Oh my god.
So I know it's not for me. I've tried them. I don't like the gameplay.
It should be. That's why
it's
I'm angry.
Very funny
is because it should be for me, and I'm.
But you don't know because you haven't bought one.
Yeah.
And played it, that's where this is insane.
But like, I don't like turn-based. I don't like turn-based combat. I don't like it. I tolerate it in Pokemon.
And you can find some that are different.
Yeah.
That's where the gacha games come in. Break out your wallet.
I would say I don't
now
like
that we've pissed off everyone who hasn't bathed this week, should I move on to the next one?
That's fine.
Well, I look forward to getting doxxed.
Yeah.
All right.
Are you still laughing?
I'm still laughing at you. That was amazing.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right, my number 2 in my dishonorable mentions negative catch-all. Is Pacific Drive.
Yeah.
The game looks great. The whole concept of the game is you have this like shit ass like station wagon, and you're driving through some weird like they call it like the zone, and it's got all these weird like sci-fi anomalies going on, and like things levitating and fucking up your car, and you're just trying to drive through in your car and keep it in shape and get farther and farther into the zone to progress the story. So you're having to get out and like scrap things to keep your car repaired and upgrade your shit when you get back. And then when you finish a run, you basically the whole zone area you're in starts going to shit, and you're like speeding and everything's going bad around you, and those parts are really tense and really cool. And you drive into a thing and teleport back, and you're like, oh wow, that's really cool. It's like it feels like the Sea of Thieves effect, pissing off more fan bases. Of that, you're like, wow, this sandbox, that's a really cool idea, but they kind of forgot to make a game around it. It feels like there should be more of a game.
Yeah.
That if this driving through and everything was enough, it would be really cool. And if the story, I think, went more places, or if it was just a shorter game, it was like a 30-hour game or some shit.
Yeah. Or
high 20s. I didn't think the story had much of a payoff. I didn't think... I accidentally Iron Man run the game. I didn't die once. So I beat the game, 28 hours, didn't fuck up, didn't die, didn't crash my car enough to render it inoperable and fail a run. And it just was kind of a weird, sandboxy, grindy, go out and, craft. It felt like a crafting game of a survival. Go out and it is a survival game, but... Yeah. It needed something else, and it was one that I went in like, oh man, this is so cool, and like I love the idea. And there's parts where it feels great when things are going wrong. It wasn't difficult enough for things to feel wrong enough. The story didn't really go anywhere, really, and I just wanted more out of it. I was really looking forward to it and walked away super bummed.
Yeah.
It was the one I'm like, well, I could stop, and like sunk cost fallacy got me, and I'm like, well, you're already like 18 hours in, like what's another 10 or 12? And that's how I beat the game. But Yeah, that's my number 2 is Pacific Drive.
All right, my other dishonorable mention is Wizzy Wiz a Gun. Wizard with the Gun. Yeah. Fondly referred to as Wizzy with a Gun.
Wizzy Wiz a Gun.
Wizzy Wiz a Gun. Yeah.
The co-op bros on YouTube.
Yeah. So there is a lot of potential in this game. The art style is cool. It's very silly having a wizard with a gun, all this stuff. Like the environment's cool. You have like the sort of like your overworld, and then you go off on dungeon runs, essentially, sort of thing. You can rearrange your overworld. It's like your home base or whatever. All this stuff. The gameplay loop just wasn't fun. The gameplay loop just got really old really fast.
It was a cool theme.
It was a really cool theme, but it was like one of those games where it's like you had to do the same thing. You had to do these dungeon runs that were so samey. It would be like the exact same. Eventually you would go onto a new world and it would be the same enemies with a slightly different skin. Like slightly different skinned same things. And it was just a shame. And the weapons, like all your guns and stuff, like you could change and, you know, flip your bullets and from fire type to ice type and upgrade them and all this stuff, but it didn't change the gameplay. It was just the same gameplay with now, like, cool, I did 5% more damage, maybe. Or cool, now it, like, freezes them for a split second. I don't know. It just... almost.
Yeah.
And you had to do so many dungeon runs to advance, too. So it wasn't like you could just blow through it and not have to face the repetition. You had to do the... you know, like, it was just... so close. Did not make it. It's not awful. It's just disappointing that there's so much stuff that, like, they kind of did right and then flopped on the gameplay. Where it's like, is your gameplay loop fun? Yeah. Not really.
That one's tough. Excuse me. Especially, I don't know if you know this. I don't know if that was that studio's first game, but they got picked up publishing rights wise by Devolver. The studio was Galvanic. Let me make sure I'm saying that right. Galvanic Games was the studio. They made that game. It didn't sell well, and they had to shut down.
Yeah. And
it's tough because it's like, this is the world where we're at. Like, especially
and
right
it had such potential.
Because how many games that come out?
Yeah.
How much is making a game, like we were talking about with the Craigslist rant about anime games, is looking interesting enough to get you in the door.
Yeah.
They make you go, oh! And that looked really fucking cool. I remember I tried the demo, I'm like, I think it's more of a you game. And then you falling off on it was saying something.
Yeah, like, because it has, like, the base building, crafting sort of side to it. But to do anything in the base building, crafting side of thing, you had to do these dungeon runs that were just so repetitive. And
it's tough just because it's... not everybody has the backing to fall on it, but it's like you really wish that it would have, one way or another... Molly's been playing that a lot lately. But you really wish one way or another that they could have made enough money or enough people liked it that you could make the sequel and go, okay, yeah, these parts were rough. It's the, even in the horror side, you don't get Terrifier 3 without getting through Terrifier 1 and 2 first. And having the backing to make one to get to the second one. So...
yeah,
it's hard out there, but it is just in this game. It's a shame that you're like, it looked so cool.
It's so cool, and it's such a fun concept. Like, and it really could have had a wide reach. Like, the target audience was pretty wide. I feel like it could have reached a lot of people, and it was just they did so many things right, and it's just it doesn't matter how cool your game looks. Yep. It's not fun to play.
Yep. It is saying something like, without looking up anything, but knowing the story behind it, or when it came out, I was like, oh, is that like a Clay Entertainment?
Yeah.
Because visually, it looks kind of Don't Starvey as far as the graphical style.
which is very distinctive.
And it's a great theme. So it's like their art team killed it, but just the gameplay was repetitive.
And it's like, I don't even know if it... Yeah, that studio probably would go on to make awesome things if they had been able to. But this one was it's a phenomenal first game for a first game. Honestly, it's great for like I don't know.
That's just a shame. Came out was not great.
Yeah, so that's my last Dishonorable mention. Okay. More of a bummer than a shame on you, but
yeah. Oh man, so. I have a curse.
You've many curses.
I think 6. We've been doing this for a good handful of years, and there's been a number of repeats because stuff gets kicked.
Yeah.
I think 6 of my 7 games of most anticipated, I end up actively hating and throwing on a dishonorable mention. I've been looking forward to this game since it was teased 8 years ago. I even dug up... Here's my YouTube comment 8 years ago on the reveal trailer. It's just hype. I don't know. That's what I left on it.
Yep.
8 years ago. 2016. What a world.
Oh, yeah.
There's no more room in hell 2.
Yep.
Revealed, teased 8 years ago. I still just remember that little teaser. But I loved the first one, which is just a source mod. I still think it's amazing. This is Lever Games, who's kind of the mod team behind the first one. That I think almost all of the people, if not all, got picked up by Torn Banner, who is under. They're not under Tripwire. I'm thinking of that wrong. I think. But Torn Banner is the dev team that picked it up. And they make like the chivalry games, things like that. And so you're hoping that maybe like melee combat's a little better. And you're like, and they're talking about like, hey, it's great. Like I remember when they were being real hush hush about like, we're getting some funding when it's going from a mod team to a bigger studio. But it went from, and apparently they're saying this was their vision, but I don't know how much they would shit talk their new owners, the company that they now work for, instead of it's their own studio.
Yeah.
But if the game went from you could either do objective modes, that it's just you play through a random set of objectives for the level and get out of it, or just survival, and that was the game, to it's now kind of an extraction shooter, and you level up your character if you get out, and you don't spawn together, and you can't play in private groups, and it launched without infection. There's no kid zombies. You couldn't take yourself out, which didn't make sense in that one because you couldn't get infected at launch either, which I think they have patched those 2 things in now. But they waited this long. They went the direction they did. They launched in the horribly buggy state. Just hit detection's a fucking mess, and that was the thing. I'm like, look. I've been playing a mod for years and years at this point, going back and playing No Room in Hell. Like, whatever they put out day one is going to be, nearly on par, right? Like, it's got to be. It's worse.
Yeah.
I don't know how the fuck they fucked it up this bad. It's worse. It went in a direction that when I saw the stuff and you're hearing them talk about it, or I think this thing they was saying to you was like, well, it may not be what I was hoping it would be, and it's going to be different, but I hope it's still fun.
Yeah.
And I remember just watching, random people on Twitch just clicking between videos, like, well, maybe just that guy's game's a buggy, shitty mess. You're like, no, it's all of them. But it launched, it's selling horribly. I think it's sitting at mixed or mostly negative, bouncing between those. It's just, I was waiting for this game for 8 fucking years, and it sucks shit. And that's the curse. Don't make me think your game's cool. It's gonna suck. Look at Halo Infinite. That's probably entirely my own well-wishing.
Yeah. That would be your bad luck.
Yeah, but No Room in Hell 2. That's a big fat number 1 on my desirable mention.
Yeah.
It hurts. I still have one. It's still there.
Yeah.
But goddamn, 2 looks like it's going nowhere slow, and that they're gonna be like. You'll get the tweet sent out that's just a text of an image saying, like, oh, thank you guys. You got laid off. Sorry, the game's not ever going to leave early access. That's my number one.
Mm.
I believe when you were ready,
Okay.
you were up for... We're in the honorable mentions, the positive catch-all of 2024. Anything and anything positive in gaming for 2024.
Okay. Mine are kind of ranked, so we can go back and forth.
Okay.
Do you want me to start?
You got 3?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, go for it.
My number 3 honorable mention is mostly just a shout out to Power Wash Simulator for being a game that I've been playing every year since it came out for a significant amount of time.
Was that a 2020 game?
I think so.
Jesus. Yeah.
It's
the evergreen.
Yeah, they keep adding like DLC for fun. I just played through all the SpongeBob stuff, and it was great. Like it's forever the game that it should not be as enjoyable as it is, but it's really fucking enjoyable. So I went back to my playlists, and yes, since it came out, I have played it every year. So that's my number 3 honorable mention for just being reliable.
Yeah.
They got the formula that works, and they don't fuck it up.
Yeah. Okay. I have a confession.
What's your confession?
My late to the party. There was a lot that went into that one, as I mentioned.
Yeah.
No, that was even game of the year. It was the number 3 slot.
Yeah.
I would have had a really unexciting late to the party if I went off of my personal scores in a spreadsheet of technically, if you squint, late to the party stuff. So
Okay.
it made it as in my honorable mentions.
Okay.
But just letting you know, these scored higher than anything I put on there.
Okay.
Is that playing through Mega Man 1 through 11
Oh, yeah?
and X1 through X5 in a row. That was through the Mega Man Legacy Collection 1, Mega Man Legacy Collection 2, then the X Collection 1, X Collection 2. I leave off... Actually, don't worry about X Collection 2. You kind of don't need to play that. We'll get to that. But I played these early... It was like in the spring. And it just went from like, oh, hey, I got these games I should play, and that'll be fun. Like, they were cheap on Steam, whatever, fuck it. And I played through 1, which I never beat as a kid because it's hard. And it's rough, and it's worth playing. And then I replayed 2, and I'm like, wow, 2 is great. The thing I didn't know is that we had 1, 2, and 3 growing up. And then I had X2, and I rented X1. But that was it. Like, we didn't have all the games. So I had 1, 2, and 3 on the NES. I didn't know that 2 through 6 are like even footing on quality, and they're amazing. Like some of the best games in the main line of my experience. 7 and 8 are really weird, but they're fun. I think those were on the PlayStation, but they're a little bizarre. Like one of them, he's like, I'm whatever, and he's like, but you can call me handsome guy, and you're like, what the fuck translation is that? And he's like, I'm Searchman, okay? And then the fight starts. Like, what? So
Yeah.
they're a little out there. And then 9 and 10 is the problem I think lots of games have, where it's like, man, remember these games? They're hard as fuck. And they are hard, but they went a little too far in making like a modern retro game and made them a little too hard. Lots of one-hit kills, shit like that. And 11's just okay.
Yeah.
It pales in comparison. And then the X series, like 2's still the best, 1's still good, 3's got some bugs that's holding it back. They're all great. 4's different than 1, 2, and 3, but still good. 5's a worse 4, and for the love of God, do not play 6, 7, or 8. They're all total shit for different reasons. So yeah, that's my list. If I had it the other way, it would have been like, how do I break this up? It's technically 4 games, but not really. There's 19 games, and I really like 16 of them. What is my late to the party that I'm just like shouting, Mega Man, bitch? Like, that's just the whole list?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my number 3 honorable mention is, my God, the fucking Mega Man games are amazing.
That's great. Okay, so my number 2 honorable mention is Minecraft.
Yeah?
Technically kind of a late to the party game, sort of, so
That's not late to the party.
Yeah. I played it a good amount.
You played a
in
lot.
like 2007. Like, what year was that? Like, ancient history.
But you've played it on and off. There's been a long off. I'll give you that.
It's been a long off. But then, my good friend Sarah has a server that she and her husband and like some of her family members and stuff play in, and I was invited, so I figured, I'll check this out. It'd be cool to have something to play with my friend across the country, and it's been a fucking problem, is what it's been. Yeah, they added a ton of stuff. I'm still learning all the new things they've added since I played back in beta. And it definitely does bring a lot to it, having like a server that's shared with other people, because they have like shops that everyone sets up and sells things in, and so that gives you a little bit more purpose. I definitely would not be having this much fun if I was playing on my own, because I always kind of end up at the spot of like, well, I could build things, but why? And this kind of having some other people on the server to interact with, and having some goals that are just like, I can set up a shop and sell things, so I need to keep the shop stocked, and I need to make a cool little shop to sell it out of, and it's just been keeping me on enough little creative projects that it's been nice. So that's my number 2 honorable mention. It's Minecraft.
Yeah. This has been about all you've played on your own.
Yeah.
for like the past 2 months.
I can look at the launcher and see exactly how many hours I put in, and it's way too fucking many.
Okay. My number 2 honorable mention, we've already even talked about, and I wrote it down also as Sucking Men in the Woods. V Rising. It was a lot of fun. It was one that it's definitely calling out on, if you're playing it on a shared server,
yeah,
that if you're not into these kinds of crafting games, just calling it out on, there's a good game here. The combat's pretty fun. It's a little tricky, and you have to really work through what your dashes and defensive options and your spells. Mm-hmm. But if you have somebody, like I do, my darling wife, who likes the more crafting, base building-y side, and they're cool, they're totally happy to do that on their own, you can play it with them.
Yeah.
And yeah, just go find someone that likes that stuff and go suck some men in the woods together.
It's really,
there's a lot of man-sucking.
A great bonding activity for couples.
It really is. I want to no, you sucked the one I was gonna suck. But sometimes you do. You jump on them, and then you press the trigger to execute them. And you didn't even suck them for the blood.
I was gonna suck him.
You were sucking them out of spite to me. Despite me, you sucked them.
Yeah.
You didn't even finish the job.
Yeah.
You abruptly sucked him.
Yeah.
Didn't even get the power out of it.
Yeah.
And here I am, about to be out of blood.
Yep.
And you're just wasting it.
Taking the man right out of your mouth.
Yep. So yeah, my number 2, Sucking Men in the Woods. V Rising.
Alright.
I have a feeling we're going to share a number 1, so go for it. I'll join in. I'd be shocked if we don't have the same number 1.
Number 1, honorable mentions. They fucking fixed TF2!
I wrote it down as an actually playable, bot-free Team Fortress.
I did hashtag fixed PS2.
Yeah.
TF2, that's all I put, because everyone was doing the hashtag. It is incredible!
I'm in disbelief still.
It's still insane that we can play it. We've played so much of it. Thank God. Thank you, Valve. Thank you, Gabe.
I'm trying to think.
Whoever made this happen, thank you.
There were bots, and there have been.
Yeah.
But I want to say it was from like 2017, 2018 onward.
It was
unplayable. It was completely unplayable.
Yeah.
You would hop in, there'd be bots spamming atrocities in the chat, mixed in with things being like, go buy this cheat engine, or Lamau box, or whatever the fuck it was called.
Yeah.
And you would have snipers looking up at the sky, spinning 800 times in a row, who would just headshot you.
Yeah. No, it was actually unplayable. And that is not an exaggeration.
Unfucking
anyone who liked OG TF2 would agree.
Yeah. And
we didn't touch it for years.
We seriously didn't. Yeah. It was like a 6-year span that we didn't even play it.
That was my first FPS. Like, that was my first PC game. Yeah.
Wow.
Like, I didn't... That was, like, that TF2 was a lot of my gaming first.
Maybe on PC, because you said you at least even, like, tried Halo back in the day, because, it's aliens.
Yeah, I guess, but I didn't own it.
Yeah.
I played it at a friend's house.
Yeah.
But, like, so, okay, not technically my first ever FPS, but, like...
But still.
It's the first one I put any significant amount of time in.
Oh, yeah.
On. And
yeah, we played a lot in our college years. when it was still playable.
Yeah.
And it's tough when you had that memory of like, it's not that you have games that come and go, and sometimes it's like, oh well, the player base just moved on,
Yeah,
and you
just
can't.
kinda faded.
It's a multiplayer game you can't play anymore just because there's not enough people, or it's enough time passed and they weren't making money and the servers cost money, so they shut it down. This was different. They still are selling shit, like they still have cosmetics. And it was, here's a game that it has technically people on here trying to play mixed in with the bots, but it's just unplayable, and it's just because of bots.
Yeah.
And they fucking fixed it.
They fucking fixed TF2.
I'm still in disbelief. I'm still playing
This,
kind of
honestly,
like this isn't gonna last forever. It might not last forever. Like, this feels like, I don't know.
The amount of money you and I have thrown at Valve in cosmetics should fucking keep it alive for a little bit at least.
My 2 notes I wrote on this were literally my first Steam review, and I stand by it still is the best class-based shooter after all these years.
I agree. Yep.
And my second note is I'm clearly just voting with my wallet and not really into playing dress up, and spent $257.59 on TF2 items this year after about a 6-year drought of not playing.
Yeah.
But it's like,
I'm trying to vote, like, that's
what I'm doing, clearly.
Yeah. It's not you just, like, dressing up your TF2 characters and silly
It's
hats.
not that I'm like, oh wait, I can put Christmas lights around my hat and my beard.
Uh-huh.
Let's do it. But yeah, I can't believe they fucking did it.
I can't believe they did it. Thank you.
We just played yesterday.
Thank you.
We've
It
been
honestly
playing
might
multiple times a
have
week.
been the best part of 2024.
Yes.
Like, the best news, anything. Yeah.
Yeah. It's, that's incredible.
I guess I bought a car, but like,
car anything.
TF2.
Oh, okay, anything. Yeah.
Anything, I mean.
Yeah, it's, I can't believe it happened. Here's a game that we absolutely adored, and we didn't stop playing because we didn't like it. We stopped playing because it got so riddled with hackers that we stopped.
Yep.
And it's back.
It's fucking back, baby. Amen.
So, yeah, that's both of our collective number 1 for honorable mentions.
Yeah. It's true.
All right, our next category, Sarah might call it most anticipated games of 2025, the upcoming year. I call it games I want to curse.
I actually have quite a few. I have 5.
Oh.
So I have quite a lot. We don't have to
just rattle them off. We can talk about them as we go if we have any shared.
Assetto Corsa Evo is not one I knew about until just now. The original Assetto Corsa was like a similar thing to with No Room in Hell, where it's like kind of just like a mod. It isn't a mod, but like
it's not. It's like it's almost sandboxy in a way.
Yeah,
like,
it's not a fully
game.
fleshed out game. But that was my favorite racing sim. That was my
Okay.
chosen racing game. So I'm excited to see a little bit more polished game of that. Maybe it'll have me dig out my racing wheel and play some more of that. Number 4 on my list is Killing Floor 3.
Okay.
Please be good. We'll find out. Killing Floor has been another staple of our relationship, I feel like. Goes back pretty far, so it'd be nice to see that one not suck. Number 3 is Monster Hunter Wilds. Enjoyed playing the first one, or World with you. I can't keep up the name.
World was the one, yeah.
Yeah, World with you. That was very fun. It's monsters and dragons, and you're fighting them, and it's very fun. Number 2 is, this is maybe the one there's the heavy. It's Assassin's Creed Shadows. I want it to be good. It probably won't be good. But there were a couple.
Last stand.
I
think
we'll get to that in the predictions.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't have a ton of faith, but it would be nice if it was good. It's themed in Japan. That sounds cool. Like, there's lots of things about it that sound cool. And there's a couple of Assassin's Creeds that I fell in fucking love with a couple years back. So, like, maybe it's a bit of a squint situation. And my number 1 most anticipated game of next year, which actually has a release date that is much sooner than I thought it was, is Rift of the Necrodancer. Oh, yeah.
I numbered mine, and that's my number 1. I was like,
I numbered mine too.
Forgot.
I loosely had them. Yeah.
But
nope.
Rift of the Necrodancer is
We're going to both be consumed by that when it releases.
I played the demo multiple times, and I was like, oh, I was trying to bug you to play it. I'm like, no, seriously, you should play it. And then you played it, and you're like, ooh. Like,
yeah, I have much more of a tendency towards rhythm games than you do, in general, I think.
Yeah.
So.
But I loved Crypt of the Necrodancer. I put tons of hours in that. It's 3 lanes.
I need to get Molly to try it, because it's just, she likes rhythm games too, and she likes Crypt of the Necrodancer, so like...
You have that same Crypt of the Necrodancer formula in that there's enemies that move a certain way, and some obstacles on the field that might change how things move or how you have to move. In this case, you're not moving, and it's a 3-lane rhythm game that you're pressing either up, down, up, left, or right, and down hits all 3 lanes. And all you have to do is, hit the enemies as they line up.
Yeah.
But keeping track of the enemy movements and their attack patterns and the different ways that they maybe react when you hit them or they hit different things on the field and how well it syncs with the music and how good the music is, it's like crack.
It's gonna
and
be
I was
crack.
playing the demo sometimes I was like, oh, like I.
You just one more time, time. I'm gonna do better, just one more time.
It is so good.
It makes you think. It's a rhythm game with thinking involved, and it is so tricky.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more than just like processing the stuff as it falls towards you, because like a skeleton will come, and that means he's gonna come back. He'll hit twice, so you have to be like anticipating the next move. It's so cool. It's such a cool concept. I've never seen a rhythm game do that sort of like chess while rhythm game situation.
I've never played anything like that.
Yeah.
I'm not the most well versed in rhythm games, but other than Crypt of the Necrodancer, this is one of the games of every once in a while I have like those like the Outer Wilds-y types of things where something's so well done that you're like, look, I know that robots are going to try to take our jobs and all that shit, but these are the ones of like, fuck yeah, humanity types of things. Something like, I am like almost moved to tears seeing how well this game works.
Yeah.
Like it is so good. So that's my number 1 too.
They won't fuck it up.
They won't fuck it up. The demo's so good.
Yeah, they're just gonna add more
content.
content.
Okay, cool.
That'll be cool.
More songs, more enemies. Yeah. Great, amazing. I'm in.
That's a shoo-in for sure.
So that was my number 1. I'll do my remaining 2.
Sure.
My number 3 is one that apparently was in the pre-roll of the Game Awards. So I didn't watch the pre-roll because why the fuck would I watch the pre-roll?
Because it's long enough as is. That
they showed off tons of games I didn't give a fuck about at the actual event. Like, personally, I really don't care about a lot of them.
Yeah.
My number 3 is Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. That they're making
That's a
new
big title for it to be not.
Yeah, it's a big name at least.
Yeah, it's a big name.
It's a Ninja Gaiden like action platformer, like a 2D one, not like the 3D ones that they made for a stretch. But it's made by the team that made Blasphemous.
Okay.
So you have that art style and that quality of the studio that's gonna pick this up. And it looks fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And just knowing like that, it's the Blasphemous team, because there's tons of things you're like, wow. Visually, that looks great, like the new Mighty Morphin Power Rangers game, and you're like, oh, apparently it sucks shit to play. Like, you can have that, but knowing it's the Blasphemous team, I'm like, okay, it's in good hands, it's gonna be fucking awesome. So, Ninja Gaiden Ragebound, didn't even know it was a thing until I saw like people tweeting about it, or like listening to Nextland, or it got brought up.
Yep.
And we already hit my number 1, but my number 2 game that I'm going to curse, which I think Rift is going to help break the curse too.
Yeah.
My number 2 is Doom: The Dark Ages.
Yep.
I didn't really like the 2016 reboot. I really liked Doom Eternal. We'll see where this one ends up, but Doom: The Dark Ages is supposed to come out this next year.
It'll have a good soundtrack.
It won't.
It's not Mick Gordon again?
You don't know. They did him so fucking dirty. They actually don't sell a version of the soundtrack because he said, fine, fuck you, here's the, like, this is the state they're in, I'm not giving you the originals. It was the most bad blood walkout. So, that's why...
That's so, like... the soundtrack to Doom is like the soundtrack to a Crypt Necrodancer. Like, this is...
That was and for 2016 in Doom Eternal. Like, the Doom Eternal soundtrack is so fucking good. It's so good.
Holy fuck.
He's done. He's like, I will absolutely not work with them again. Fuck them.
What did they do? Why did you fuck them over
He
like that?
put out like a 30-something page, this is my side of the story.
I believe Mick. Like,
I believe him too, because I know it's Bethesda, not quite Microsoft.
Yeah, no,
but he's done soundtracks for tons of people. Like Iron Galaxy worked with him on Killer Instinct and stuff like that. Like, he's done tons of this before, and he's so good at it. And that's the other part. I'm a little worried about this one, just because it's modern Microsoft-owned things. Not to say that
is like that's an ill omen for sure. That is not a good sign.
I don't know what they're going to do musically, and that's a big draw of some of it. But the gameplay was so good, so I think the gameplay hopefully is still great.
Have they announced anything with what they're going to do for the music? Like, do you know composers or anything?
I don't think we know.
Jeez.
But yeah, no, Mick Gordon's out of the picture.
Damn.
So there's things I'm a little worried about. That being one of them. Well, hey, hopefully the music's at least okay.
Yeah.
But Eternal's so good, and a good chunk of it is the music with the gameplay. But yeah, Doom: The Dark Ages is my number 2. Cautious, but please be good. Please be good. Sorry I cursed it.
Yeah.
It's all my fault. Not that Microsoft is a bunch of dicks. Mm-hmm. Okay. We are into our, I think this is probably, you were laughing at yesterday. Our
yes.
We did predictions with each of these awards, and we review last year's predictions. These are the 2024 Gaming Predictions Retrospective. Go dig up your last year's predictions and talk through what you predicted correctly, partially, correctly, incorrectly, whatever.
Yep.
You want to go through yours first?
Sure. Should I read? I'm going to read verbatim.
Do whatever you want to do.
The first next year's gaming predictions. Verbatim from 2023. When I get to Phantom Liberty, I'll want to put it on my next year's awards, and Nate won't fight me. That was what I was laughing about.
Yeah.
I saw that after I had already put it into my list.
Because you were asking in the like hazy context of like, can you put DLC in these things? I'm like, well, I wouldn't.
Yeah, that was why I was asking, and that was all before I saw my note from last year.
Yeah, that's funny.
Absolutely hilarious. Yeah, no notes.
Yeah.
Do you want to go back and forth, or should I
just go for it?
My second one was I hunger for farming sims forever and always.
Yep.
Yeah. To name a few that didn't make the list, I played Coral Island again. I played through Stardew Valley again because there was a big update for Stardew Valley that was pretty neat. I played Fae Farm, Sunhaven. Like, I have so many farming sim games, and I like them a lot. And my last thing was new Nintendo hardware. And I'm just going to transfer that one to my next year's gaming predictions.
No Nintendo hardware?
New Nintendo hardware.
That should be a shoo-in.
It should be a shoo-in.
Should.
But it did not come true this year.
It did not. Mine, I put my friend Andrew finally buys a new gaming PC because of Warhammer 40k Space Marine 2. No. He got an Xbox, and it was largely my recommendation off of like, hey, there's this thing called Game Pass, and it's $20, and look at all the games you get. Wow. Mm-hmm. I did check because we don't play stuff all that often together, but he did at least play some Space Marine. But he largely he's really into Diablo 4, and he was playing like lots of sports games. I think he rediscovered that he used to get Madden every year.
Yeah.
And then play that. So he got something gaming modern. Yeah. He's out of the Stone Age.
Yeah.
And I also had on here, so that last one did not come true. This one also, partial credit, but did not come true. All of my 2024 late to the party games were released in 2023. This was coming out of 2023 was an insane year for games of how much shit came out.
Yeah.
And it's going to be everything. I was close. It was 2 of them were, but being Liza P and Blood West, but Hitman World of Assassination was a 2022 release.
Okay. So close.
Close. Yeah. Now we're going to do our predictions for next year, which I really fucking struggled with.
Yeah.
Do you want me to go first?
Sure.
Yeah, we'll mix it up. My only prediction I had, which is not good, if anything, and I don't fucking know right now of what's a fun prediction, and I struggle with this category even existing. It's funny for some of those look back moments, but I really have a tough time. All I have on here was a bunch more layoffs and studio closures. That's all I got.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't know. I'm very disheartened on the current state of lots of gaming things.
It is definitely the case. On a similar tangent, I specifically think that Ubisoft is going to file for bankruptcy in the next year. There's no... If Shadows probably won't do well. Let's be realistic.
Yeah, it's one that...
Or they're going to either get bought out, like, file for bankruptcy.
Someone's going to buy their IPs.
Yeah.
But I think Ubisoft as we know it, is done. I don't know
whatever that phrase is for, like, hanging on by dear life, basically, right now.
They're done.
The other two I had were new Nintendo hardware for real this time, which is all but confirmed.
That was when I was debating putting on there. Like, it's nearly confirmed. Of like, I don't know, like, what's exciting? I don't have any exciting.
I'm gonna add on to this that it's gonna be the Switch 2 or the new Switch. Like, it's gonna have a stupid name.
Yeah, I should have guessed a name. Are you going Switch 2?
I'm gonna go for Switch 2. Yeah.
I'm going Switcheroo.
That is just bad enough.
I think the Nintendo Switcheroo would be amazing. Because what weird, like, they did Wii and then Wii U. I think Nintendo Switcheroo would be amazing. People just call it the Roo.
See, but that's actually good.
The Roo?
It's kind of dumb, but, like,
Nintendo
compared to Nintendo's naming conventions for their hardware, it's actually kind of good. Yeah, so I'm putting in writing now Switch 2. Feel free to place your bets on
That's the safe thing,
Switch,
or Super Switch. Or
new
something.
Switch.
Super Switch would be another one, because, like, Super Nintendo.
Yeah. And then... Yeah, but that's basically confirmed. Like, I don't think anyone's doubting that at this point. And this is mostly just me kind of trying to manifest it, I guess. But I'm hoping the new GPUs aren't going to be worth the price or the upgrade, because I just upgraded mine!
See, that was the thing. Everything I was coming up with was just dark and depressing.
Yeah.
And one of mine was like, I don't know, the new GPUs are $1,500 fucking dollars, and I buy it anyway because, like, I'll get it.
Probably, yeah.
It'll be 2 generations newer when these drop, and I need it because Unreal 5 games
I genuinely, I hope they are good.
Right.
But I did just upgrade just in case.
But NVIDIA, they don't give a fuck. And it's like, I'm so glad the Intel cards aren't shit.
Yeah.
So that there's someone fighting for that budget mark. But for the top end, if they know they have it by a good margin between these companies, they know people will pay.
Yep.
They know I will. And that's the other thing is, whatever I get, there's no way I walk away for more than 6 months with just one of these cards. That I'm like, whoa, I can play this game on... I have 2 computers, one upstairs and the one down here, and be like, oh, well, I would throw the card down here.
Yep.
But I play a lot upstairs.
Yeah.
And then I'll be like, all it's going to take is the one game, like before it was Resident Evil 4, that my processor full-on couldn't keep up.
Yeah.
And my GPU. And then it turned into kind of upgrading a bunch of shit. I'm like, cool, I can play Resident Evil 4 on both computers. That's going to be like whatever price it is times 2, which is way too much fucking money to spend on hardware.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't have 2 gaming computers. I wish I could just run really long HDMI cables across the entire house and not have it look like total ass.
And drill through
the ceiling.
Yeah.
But yeah. So that's where I was at. Every prediction was nothing good, or like that's a known thing. Like nothing good's gonna happen, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
Team Fortress 3, it's happening.
I do predict, and this is what I'm just coming up with right now.
Yeah.
There's going to be another, like, one developer hit indie game that makes the Game of the Year awards. Because that has been the trend. Like, Pizza Tower was one of the... I don't know.
That was one for me.
It made it to the Game Awards.
Yeah, I think it made it for, like, music or something.
I'm not sure.
I forget, but maybe some indie something, but yeah.
Yeah, there's going to be the one indie breakout of, like, a very small team of developers or a developer, like Balatro was this year, for however much I don't really understand the hype that that's nice to see that indie titles like that can still come out of nowhere, be a small dev team, and get the recognition they ought to get. So, but yeah, I think AAA is probably still gonna eat ass.
AAA is just in such a weird spot. Like, it still is crazy that, like, I guess Microsoft this year, they released what? Indiana Jones, and Call of Duty. And I'm talking actual releases, not Vessel of Hatred for Diablo 4 or anything like that. And I thought they had one other one. But we're still at a spot, like, I think State of Decay was like 4 years ago. Was State of Decay 3?
Yeah.
That you're like, oh, you teased it 4 years ago. It's nowhere. But like, I know it's gonna be, I think like South of Midnight's coming out, but then they showed it and you're like, oh, it's a Souls-like. Or like looks like that style of gameplay.
Yeah.
And it's just, I don't know. And I'm hoping Doom, like last time I was like, man, what have they put out that I like? And it's just Doom. But Doom's it. Doom's all they have going for me personally.
Yeah.
I think the new Gears might be late next year. I'm not sure. I hope it's good.
Yeah.
I fucking hated 5. The multiplayer was good. The campaign was terrible. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
AAA's in a weird spot. I'm glad. I still need to play Astrobot. I heard that's good.
Yeah.
But that's up my alley more. But almost everything.
Honestly, Astrobot might be better for me because I don't get the impression it's difficult.
Yeah. But yeah, AAA's in a very weird spot. I think it's my list is lots of indie stuff, and I think that's my prediction. That's a no-brainer of indies dominate the things I like.
Yeah.
Just because lots of AAA other than Capcom. Capcom makes good shit.
Yeah.
It's just lots of ass. Okay. Well, I don't have any other predictions. Do you have anything?
No. How do you feel about the year as a whole?
I thought the indies were good, but I thought it was... there's still stuff I'm playing. Like, I have no shortage of things in my backlog, but for new stuff that came out this year, like, I want to... Like, what are things that came out this year that are in your pile of shame? That's almost not a lot for you?
Not this year, no.
I mean, owned or not. I guess I should say, of things that you want to get to. Because, like, I still want to check out Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I have that free code for it, so I might as well.
Oh, yeah, just sitting there, huh? I want to check out Astrobot. And I'm trying to think, like...
I guess I have to play Metaphor. I don't know if I want to, but I have to. Yeah. No, I mean, I don't have a lot. I don't tend to buy games until I'm good to play.
But even not owned, of just stuff that came out, you're like, oh fuck, I should play that. Like, but it's weird that you're watching the Game Awards. I'm like, well, like, not many of these are I'm sure some of these are fun if you sit down and try some of them, or if you're into that genre, that even mixed in there. I'm like, well, do I need to play Black Myth Wukong? Like, it looks like it could be cool. I don't know, but there's going to be 5 games that look similar to it coming out in the next year. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
In some way of that style of combat and stuff.
There is one that I missed out on that I need to play.
What's that?
Little Kitty Big City.
Oh, yeah. Did you end up beating Stray this year?
I started it. I did not finish it.
Okay.
Which would be interesting with my new graphics card because it probably could
Was
run
it
it
struggling?
better. Probably a little bit.
Okay.
It's like tons of ray tracing-y shit, I think.
But yeah, no, it's just, I thought this year was at least a little slow from the main side. I know I got a ton of games to go through from, maybe not this past year, but I have no shortage of shit to play.
Yeah.
But I do think overall this year was kind of weak for the games I'm into. And that especially, like, it's been a while since I watched the Game Awards and have been like, 2 of these are appealing to me.
Yeah, it felt very like...
And I haven't played the majority.
I haven't played the majority, and I have no interest in playing a lot of them.
Yeah, or like, I tried Balatro and refunded it.
Yeah.
And then so it's just like, okay, hey, it's not for me. Or we tried Helldivers. We own it.
And it's not...
And it's...
bad.
But you're like, okay.
Great.
I like the idea of it more than actually playing it.
Yeah.
So I think this year was a little weak, personally.
Yeah. I think I kind of agree.
But we got fucking TF2.
But we got TF2, so it all makes it all better.
It's 2008 or 9 all over again.
Yeah.
Where the fuck year?
Play TF2.
One of the other things I realized is I did want to make sure I called out sucking Man in the Woods with you, because it was important, and that's
Yeah.
this is my awards thing with you.
Yeah.
Another anything to call out that was the things that just fell short. I can't stress enough how fucking amazing it is that Steam has the Steam recording stuff built into the
Oh my
client.
god, yeah, that's like a deserving of a positive catch-all almost. The Steam recording stuff's great. It's so easy.
The big thing with it that they've done that no other recording software I know of that does, there's lots of times that you can either press a button and you're just recording until you tell it not to, or until you run out of space. That's been another software. The other one that's in software, which I think they call it Shadow Play or Replay in OBS, is that you can press a button and you can save a determined amount of footage in the past. Of something happened, I'm going to press a button, now look, I saved the past 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Steam has that it's just always recording and always trimming the max file size of dumped video files.
That's the way to do it.
And so you just always have a rolling, 10 gigs of video or whatever you want to set it up as. So you can have a rolling 90 minutes of footage. And as dumb as it is, we're playing TF2 and I'm like, oh fuck, this happened. Or you're in bed trying to get me to go to sleep, and I'm texting you, I'm sending you things to the Steam app of me throwing axes at midgets in Mordhau.
Yeah.
And that's just amazing.
Yeah.
You can just clip random things and it's just always there, and it's not... I've tried getting into the recording clips, in the pandemic days, of hey, let's do this. It just eats space. It's
so
clunky.
hard.
That you can clip stuff and send it right through the Steam chat. You can dump out the files. That I think that is an insane innovation in the gaming space and the creative space on that. So I wanted to call that out for sure. But
that's great. Even just to be like, what happened there?
Yeah.
And re-review your kill. You're like, oh, shit. He did get me. Fair enough.
We had one that I was like, I got face stabbed, and I clipped it. We were like, what the fuck? We were like, okay, I saved the spot, and we'll go back and look. And we look, we're like, there was a second spy.
Yeah.
That I wouldn't have known. I would have just thought I got... Because you get face stabbed all the time.
Yeah, that's not uncommon.
And that seemed particular. I was like, there's no way. He was on my screen, not even off to the side. And then I got backstabbed. And you're like, oh, there was a second spy.
Yeah.
Or you have that you pop up a medic and land a godlike shot.
That was an insane shot. Yeah. But you can just grab those, and it's not a big deal. It's not like a whole ordeal to be like, okay, well, I recorded my entire TF2 session. Let me pick out this 10 seconds, Yeah, no, that is incredible. And there's no gameplay hit either.
No, there's
nothing. It's
nearly nothing.
I don't know how they've done it. It's black magic, but once again, Valve just knocking it out of the park this year.
Yeah.
They brought back TF2 and then gave us gave us the ability to record TF2. It's incredible.
One that I'm still hoping you still have the Steam OS distributable out there, but tons of the Steam Deck stuff, which I think works so well. It wouldn't be entirely the same, but I would love to see them make that compatible natively on more hardware.
Yeah.
Because you can get, I think it's called Bazite, is they kind of take an image of that and modify it, so you can run it on AMD, all AMD hardware. I think NVIDIA doesn't play nice.
Yeah.
But
of course they don't.
It's the selling point for me. I did bug Josh. I'm like, hey, do you ever think you're going to get a gaming PC again? He's like, maybe the distant future was kind of how he put it. But it's part of it is you have to deal with Windows, and that this is hard and a gaming PC is easy. Steam Deck, that UI is amazing.
Yeah.
And just hey, it works on Deck, which you would have your own hardware, which would be different, and that makes it hard. But that UI of you boot right into it, it's all controller everything. Man, if they could get that working on normal computers officially.
Yeah, that would be very cool.
That would be amazing. Well, hey, I got nothing else to call out, but the recording was something I for sure wanted to say.
No?
Cool. Well,
good.
Happy 2024.
Yeah.
And we'll do this again in a year.
See you next year.